Are people who really want to be friends with INFJs a red flag? This question was asked by a viewer, CL Strive. Thank you for your question as ever. I would say that the answer is not as straightforward as you might believe. There seemed to be a sentiment in the comment section that perhaps those people are always going to be a red flag, and I'm not going to renege on some of the things I said in the past. I made a video on people who fixate on INFJs, so you can refer back to that for what I discussed there. There's definitely people who fixate on INFJs. But I think what's important to keep in mind is that there's a difference between people who want to be friends with INFJs because they are INFJs, and so that would be coterminous with people who fixate on INFJs. Because what they're doing is they're fixate on the type, and it's their fixation on the type that draws them to people that they see as embodying the type, as possessing the type. Now, these people are red flags. They're red flags for an obvious reason, which is that their conception of INFJs is an idealization based on simplistic, mythologistic, sensationalistic descriptions, right? Part of the pull of the INFJs is that they possess the INFJ essence, that they have the INFJ label attached to them. People who are gonna seek friendship, expecting to meet with the ideal, are obviously deluded, and they're obviously going to be frustrated. So first of all, these people probably have a harder time distinguishing between reality and fiction. So that's already a first red flag. But of course, in their expectations towards you, they are not going to relate to you exactly as a person, but you're more so as a means of embodying that INFJ essence. So it's, if you like, the grounds for a positive and mutually constructive relationship on an intimate enough basis is compromised. So you do want to avoid those people. But you see, these people are actually in a minority, I think. In the overall categories of people who want to be friends with INFJs, there is a bigger subset. And that subset is not people who want to be friends with INFJs because INFJs possess INFJ-ness, right? This idealized essence. No, they want to be friends with INFJs because they've learned through experience that they tend to get on with INFJs. That is to say, they tend to get on with people who are of the INFJ type. And it happens more often than you think. So most of the time it's going to happen online. And I've been in those situations myself many times. So for example, prior to getting involved in Discord and all these modern things, I was active for years on an INFJ forum, INFJs.com. It's still active. It's a little bit less active these days. Well, there were lots of non-INFJs on the INFJ forum. You might ask yourself why. Why are there people that visit the INFJ forum become, like very regular users? Like lots of them. Many INTPs, many INFPs, many ENFPs, some ENTPs, some INTJs, of course. And a bunch of other ones, some ISTPs. So, you might ask yourself, well, why were these people on this forum? Why did they not join their own forum? So they might tell you, well, the INFP forum is dead, and it's mostly people just being sad or, sort of not being very committed to the forum itself, disappearing for a while. So the sense of community is not as strong. And usually they just like people, they like INFJs. They like INFJs not because these people possess INFJ-ness. It's because being INFJ usually comes with a reasonably predictable set of personality traits that they like and that they find they vibe with quite well. And I can testify to that. The forum had some really good years where those non-INFJs were were really adding to the overall vibe, richness of conversations, and overall just atmosphere of the forum, So it was a really win-win situation. So these INFJs would certainly, these non-INFJs who want to be friends with INFJs in a certain sense, would certainly not be red flags, right? And that would extend to real life as well. You know, it's less likely to happen because most people in real life don't have any notion of what an INFJ is, or at least not in depth. So, you know, people who are really eager to make friends with INFJs in real life, I'd say would be quite rare. There are people in real life who, when they know that you're an INFJ, if they're familiar, they'd be interested in being your friend. But oftentimes it will be for the second reason that I mentioned, the fact that they get on with INFJs, either in real life or online or both. And their mode of approaching you, this is how you tell the difference, by the way. The first kind of person is kind of obsessive and unidirectional about the way they want to seek out and make friends with INFJs. And that's the best way to make INFJs run away, right? Fat chance there is of that, of them actually becoming friends. The other type will express interest, but it will be non-aggressive. It will be, if you like, it will be constructive. It will be oriented to mutual enhancement right from the get-go, right? And so, even at an intuitive level, the INFJ is not going to see them as a red flag, because they'll see that they will very much have the option not to engage if they don't want to. There won't be a clinginess, there won't be a sense in which there is pressure on them to engage. So let me know in the comments what you thought about this idea that people who want to be friends with INFJs are necessarily red flags. I think some are. It depends on what kind of subset you're talking about. Don't forget that I've written some books on the INFJ. You know, I've written 2 books on the INFJ. The latest one is The Infinite Soul, INFJ Life in a Modern World, on how to find happiness, purpose, love, value in a world that is often hostile to us. So this is a great book to get if you want to learn how to be an INFJ in the world today, a happy INFJ, because the world is often seen as hostile. So this is my latest book. If you have it but haven't reviewed it, please consider reviewing. It helps with the referencing, it helps a lot, okay? And the prequel to it, which you might be familiar with already, is the Ecstatic Soul. So prior to looking at how INFJs interact with the world, which is more the focus of the Infinite Soul, this book looks at how INFJs function in terms of their consciousness, in terms of their mind, and how that manifests in behavior in existential constitution, right? It's kind of a must read, just like the other one, so consider getting them. You might, they're quite in depth, so if you're willing to go deep, you should get those books. And don't forget, Patreon is the lifeblood of my channel, so if you would like to support my Patreon page so I can keep the channel going for as long as possible with steady content, from $3.50 a month you can support me. The link is right below. You can interact with me there, you can suggest video content, people do that. And I'm going to start quite soon making some in-depth premium Patreon only videos on topics from my books where we go really deep. So if you'd be interested in that, that's the place to go as well. Okay guys, talk to you soon. Bye bye.